You've been warned. You've been warned not to enter this house. This old, run-down house with its stone rooftop and its broken windows. You've been warned. But you didn't heed the warnings. You didn't believe the stories. What's so special about this house anyway? Why is everyone scared of it? These are the questions running through your mind. They kept warning you, telling you that none who entered have ever been seen again. They told you about the sounds and strange noises you can hear coming out of the house on these dark, quiet days. But every single one you've talked to in town, they all said the same thing, that every year on Halloween, the house comes to life. You can see it well lit and restored to its former glory. You hear the sounds of people laughing and cheering like they're having a ball. Many curious souls have entered the house to uncover its secrets and what lie inside during these eerie nights. But none have returned to tell their story. Now you enter. You ignore the stories and warnings, the pleas of the townsfolk not to go in there. But you don't heed their warnings. You enter the house on the hill. You enter the house and right away you encounter a rather unexpected scene. You were expecting to enter and find a great entrance with hallways and doors leading into other rooms. But what you find is you've entered straight away into what seems like an endless hallway. You look in front of you to the horizon, but you can't make up what lies ahead. All you see are these chandeliers with the candle and the flames flickering and swaying almost in sync, like they're following a pattern that you try to decode. You try to keep track of the motion of the flames, focusing on their light and how it moves and flickers. But just before you can figure out the pattern, it seems like it deliberately changes, as if it knows you're there, looking at it, staring into it, and it deliberately changes to make you look more, interrupting the pattern so you can keep focusing on it more, as if it wants you to get lost in it. But you snap out of it. You shake your head and snap out of it, trying to regain your composure while looking around this hallway, seeing what else you can do, where else you can go. You finally regain composure now. You regain your composure and look around. You see to your left stairs, countless ones, all seem to be turning to the right, and who knows where they lead. And to your right, you see doors, multiple doors. They all look the same, like a carbon copy of one another. Where might they lead, you ask yourself. But your attempt to open any of the doors is fruitless. For some reason, you can't open any door, although they are not locked. You turn the knob, but it just doesn't open, as if someone or something is preventing you from opening it, preventing you from entering. Suddenly it changes. With no warnings or notice, you're in a different room entirely. Where am I? What just happened? You wonder to yourself. What is this place? Looking around, you believe you're in some sort of church? An altar, maybe? You see the benches on each side of the room, the window behind the altar, the well-lit window, even though it should be night outside. But what really caught your eyes, what really got your attention is the altar itself. The banner in front of the altar with these interesting patterns on it. Some very peculiar shape to it. A spiral? It does look like a spiral. A spiral spinning onto itself. You can't help but find your eyes starting to follow one of the lines, starting from the outside and working your way slowly inside. Your eyes spinning round and round to follow the line until you make your way to the center of the spiral. And that's when your eyes start to follow once more. But this time to the outside, following it round and round to the outside of the banner, There is something so alluring about this motion. You can't explain why, but you feel compelled. You feel compelled to keep on following the lines in the spiral. And the weird thing is, you feel so good following these lines. Like you want to keep following them with your eyes spinning round and round. You want to surrender to them? Yes, that's it. Surrender to them. What? Wait, surrender? You shake your head again, snapping yourself from this trance-like state. Surrender? Why is this word so familiar? You hesitantly take a peek at the altar once more, afraid you might get caught again. But this is when you see it. You see this word on the book above the altar. You could have sworn it wasn't there a second ago, but you just can't tell for sure. Especially with how your mind is acting right now. You start to take notice of the strange effect this place is having over you. This is one strange house, and you're starting to think the people in town might have been right. Maybe you shouldn't have come here. Maybe it's time to leave. The shift is so instant, so fast it catches you off guard. This sudden change, this change in scenery, it gets you all dizzy and disoriented, which you're certain is no mere coincidence. This is the doing of someone or something. The house. There are some strange mystical forces at play in this house. You felt them from the moment you entered. This force has been pulling, tugging on you, trying to influence and affect you. You've been fighting, trying your best to fend it off, but you're not sure anymore. Doubt is starting to creep and crawl its way inside your mind. That's when you blink. You blink and shake your head, trying not to let these intrusive thoughts get the better of you. And that's when you start to properly notice your surroundings. There is no doubt about what grabs your attention immediately. It's the huge hole in the middle of the room. Like an anvil came crashing down through the floor, creating this hole, this pit, this bottomless pit. You cautiously take a step closer to this pit and look down. You look down trying to figure out how far this pit goes, but all you see is darkness. All you see is how the pit quickly swallows the light and turns it into darkness. You squint and try your hardest to find any end to it, but there just doesn't seem to be any. You see the dark, the everlasting darkness inside the pit, and somehow it brings you comfort. Your gaze focused on the darkness of the pit. Your surroundings all fade to the background, and you can feel this pull from the inside, something calling to you like a siren's call. It feels so welcoming and inviting, a call that speaks to you, a call that you want to answer. It fills you with such warmth and comfort. You feel the need to answer it. You feel the need to go into the pit and answer your call. Whoever it is, whatever it is, you need to answer its call, and that's why you fall into the pit. Feel yourself falling into it, endlessly falling into it, as the light above you fades away, and all that remains is the darkness of the pit. You keep on falling, seeing no end to how deep you go, how deep you can go while you keep on falling. You feel whatever worries or fears you had, whatever worries or fears you had of this place begin to dwindle and vanish, leaving it behind as you keep on falling, clearing your mind of any and all doubt. All the nervousness is gone. Any fear you had regarding this house is gone. You're starting to see that the house is not trying to hurt you. It's trying to show you something. It's trying to tell you something. And whatever it may be, you look forward to it. A new place, a new room. No longer does it confuse or disorient you to enter a new room. Quite the opposite. You welcome it. You welcome whatever the house wants to show you, whatever it has in store for you. You're starting to see that it has your interest in mind. Part of you realizes how absurd this train of thought is, but another part feels it makes perfect sense. It makes complete and perfect sense. What doesn't make sense is what you can see right now, what you see in this room. this interestingly designed room. It's a normal room, a completely normal looking room. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. Well, except for the minor fact that it's upside down. Everything looks proper and in order, but it's upside down. Or maybe you're the one upside down. As if the room can read your mind. It spins, and while you remain put right in your place, the room spins to position itself properly, which seems to affect you greatly. It affects your mind greatly, causing you to get quite disoriented and dazed, as if the room is actually spinning, which in this case, it is. While you stand still, you see the room continuously spinning, which makes it hard, near impossible, to know up from down, left from right. The room taking you for a spin, taking your mind for a spin, which makes your mind feel so disoriented and fuzzy, no longer able to hold your bearings. The room spins, and your mind with it, finding that whatever logical thoughts, if any, remained, they are long gone now. Your mind is so far caught in what's happening to you, that it barely has time to focus on anything else. And speaking of time, time is ticking. Time is ticking, and it's time you see it yourself. This hourglass you see before you, it is no mere timekeeper. It is a timekeeper of something of more importance, far more importance to you specifically. It shows you the time you have left until the house takes a hold of you, until you become part of the house, which a while ago might have scared you and sounded wicked. But now you know it's not a bad or scary thing. The house has been revealing itself to you, and you feel good here. You feel safe in it. No harm will befall you in this house. You're certain of that now. The house will take care of you as long as you take care of it. The sands of time fallen inside the hourglass, marking the fast approaching time. Time you allow yourself to let go. You allow yourself to give in. You allow yourself to be taken by the house, letting yourself go and letting the sands run out. Your desire to stay has been growing. It's been growing since the beginning. since the moment you entered the house. What you thought were mystical forces that wanted to harm you were in fact ones that wanted to keep you safe, wanted you to stay so they can keep you safe. You want to stay. You know you can be happy and live a wonderful life here. You're ready. You're ready to be taken by the house. A new room. This time it's different. This time you feel something is different. You feel this is it. You know this is it. This is the last room you need to see. This is the room the house was guiding you to reach. You see before you a chair with a huge painting in front of it. A painting you feel you might have seen before. You don't know where, but you feel you've seen it before. And you recognize what the painting is of. It's a painting of the house. A portrait painting of the house. You look at it, feeling all warm and happy inside. You look at it and feel welcomed. You feel you belong. You know it is where you belong. You entered this house a skeptic and a disbeliever. A disbeliever of the stories and the tales you've heard about it. But now you know the truth about this place, and why all those who entered before you never left. 'Cause why would they? Why would they leave such a place? A place that takes care of them. A place so warm and inviting. A place where no matter what happens outside, it will keep you safe. It will make you happy. You look at the painting and feel drawn to it. Feel you can keep looking at it for ages and ages. This chair was not placed there by accident. It's the house. The house telling you to have a seat. Have a seat and look at the painting. Look at the house and feel its warmth. Feel its warmth all over you. Both mind and body feel at ease. Feel relaxed as you take a seat. Take the final step in your journey of belonging. Belonging to the house. And with you sitting down, your journey is complete and you become part of it. You become part of the house. As our story comes to an end, we now know what these poor souls see inside the house. while we see the truth from the outside, the inside paints a different picture. A picture of illusions and hallucinations conjured by an evil house, a possessed house, a house built on the lies and the souls of those who enter it. A strong wizard once lived in this house centuries ago. He was obsessed with immortality, but he failed to achieve it, and in his dying days, he cast a spell on the house to preserve himself in it. The spell worked, but not as intended. Instead of preserving himself in the house, he became the house, and in order to stay alive, he needed to feed, and so he found feeding on the willpower of those foolish enough to enter his domain would suffice. And with time, he grew lonely, so he kept these poor victims as his companions. Through his tricks, the false promise of safety, the promise of a place where you can belong and be happy, while in reality, its true nefarious motives are clear to those not involved. You see it for what it truly is: a house draining the willpower and energy from these poor souls, turning them into puppets and playthings for a wicked man and a possessed house. But each year on Halloween, he is kind enough to use his energy to bring the house to life, to throw them a party where for that day they can truly feel what he promised: happiness and safety, the joy of belonging to the house on the hill.